welcome back here with us on the Urban Debate. And for third day in a row, we are going to discuss what's happening within the BCCI because this saga is just getting complicated every single day. The Virat versus BCCI spat has now escalated. In a mega exclusive news break, Times Network has accessed BCCI's reaction to Virat's claims. The cricket body has spelled out the issues they have with Virat Kohli, saying that Virat would not communicate with the team and was not accessible after matches as well. He wouldn't even coordinate with the selection team. Rebutting Virat's short removal notice claim, the BCCI said that there is no rule that mandates a 10-day prior communication and the decision to remove captains is the selector's prerogative. The cricket also has sent out, in fact, a clear message to Virat. The BCCI has sent a very clear message to Virat Kohli. You perform, you stay. So what should now be done in a situation like this? And what does it mean for Team India, which is going to be playing in South Africa, which is going to begin the series very, very soon? Joining us on the broadcast right now is Rakesh Rao, Deputy Editor, The Hindu, Nikhil Sharma, who is Indian author and a sports commentator. We are also joined by Ashok Malhotra, former Indian cricketer. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here on Mirror Now. Nikhil Sharma, what will you say about the kind of developments that have taken place in the last 3 days on this particular matter? And, Saurav Ganguly, in fact, also said today, no statements, no press conference, we'll deal with it, leave it to the BCCI.
Can you please repeat the question? I'm sorry, I just had a bad...
I'm saying... No problems. I was just seeking your opinion on the developments that have taken place over the last 3 days. Because today, of course, questions were being asked of the BCCI, and the only thing officially we heard was what Saurav Ganguly had to say. No statements, no press conference. We'll deal with it, leave it to the BCCI after the explosive revelations by Virat Kohli yesterday.
Yes, I guess, what the BCCI president intends to say is the fact that, when he meant by BCCI is that all of us will take into cognizance whatever Virat has said. Mind you, it was not Virat Kohli's, personal press conference. He was speaking in a official BCCI press conference. Whatever he spoke was very clear, concise, whatever was it from his side is what he's spoken fairly honestly and upfront. We hear a lot of conspiracy theories, up and about today. But I guess what is most important is that a player of Virat's stature should have been looked after. It is important that not only Virat, the captain, but also Virat, the batsman, be looked after. There are two important tournaments coming up, and for sure, Virat's going to be a very important part in both the 22 as well as the 23 World Cup. So I think it's incredibly important that BCCI clears their stance on this matter. The team's already on its way to South Africa. While most of the players are fairly professional and they can very well manage themselves going forward, lots of fans and speculation can't be good for Indian cricket going forward.
Okay. Rakesh Rao, now in the past as well, we've seen many a time senior players, prominent players being edged out. But have you seen something as ugly as this one?
Well, I've seen the exit of Anil, and that was ugly for me. I mean, the way Anil Kumble was treated by Virat Kohli and company, that was ugly. I mean, how can you treat a player like Anil Kumble as a coach, and he has had a fantastic 1 year as the coach of the Indian team, and it was Virat and nobody uttered a word, when Anil should have been backed by the BCCI, whether the selectors or the office bearers, everybody just kept quiet. So that was ugly. But then having said that, I've also maintained that life is such, you live by the, those who live by the sword die by the sword. It is because somebody like Virat Kohli, I know he's a great communicator when it comes to talking to the media, talking from the presentation area, he does communicate, but you speak to the selectors, you speak to the office bearers of the BCCI, and they say that he doesn't respond to to, messages. He doesn't respond to phone calls. He doesn't, call back. Now, that is what I'm trying to say, that if he doesn't communicate, this wasn't communicated to him the way he has actually, he has fallen short of being a good communicator with the bosses. So the bosses wanted to probably show him that, look, if this is the kind of, like medicine that works for you, we are going to give it to you. I'm not saying that it is right. It is obnoxious. I mean, you got to treat your man better. He is, after all, your captain. But having said that, again, I would like to reiterate here that now, Virat on his part has bared as well as dared Saurav Ganguly. And Saurav Ganguly says no comments. Now, as they say, silence is consent. In this case, if you don't want to comment on it, the informed cricket lover of this country and around the world is going to take Virat Kohli's words as the truth. So unless Chetan Sharma is asked to hold a press conference and take questions, or even Saurav Ganguly, if they don't want to face the media and come clear on this, then Virat stands vindicated.
But then, Rakesh Rao, what you're saying, of course, is making sense because we haven't really heard anything official from the other side. But whatever official details we got from the other side before Virat Kohli's press conference yesterday were also contradicting completely what Virat Kohli had to say yesterday. What happens to that? The claims, the counter claims that are there with Saurav Ganguly also, and the timeline that he gave us yesterday?
See, exactly. See, what Saurav, whatever he said, probably there was no need for him to come and issue a clarification once it was decided that, that Rohit was going to be the white ball captain of this country. He came out and he said whatever he said, and Virat Kohli in his own way has, he has actually, I don't want to sound harsh, but he has, turned him into shreds. I mean, whatever that Saurav Ganguly had said. He never took Saurav's name. But it is quite clear that whatever Saurav said, that's quite not true as we speak. Tomorrow, if Saurav comes clear on it, we'll have a different picture. But I don't want to speculate anything as of now. Let's look at the facts that we have in front of us, and let's have an opinion on that.
Okay, Ashok Malhotra, going by the facts that we have right now, do you think it is important for BCCI to also come out with its own set of facts? Because now it's out there in the public. Earlier, it was just a speculation. I mean, even till 1 o'clock yesterday, it was just a speculation. We were still discussing whether it's just about a rift between him and Rohit Sharma or there's something else. But what he said yesterday has actually opened a can of worms.
It has. And he challenged the authority of the president. Simple. For me, that I've been a national selector for 4 years. I know how it works. There's no timeline that you have to be informed 10 days in advance, or there's no timeline. The fact is, writing was on the wall. Only Virat Kohli could not read the writing. Everybody else knew about it. That he is going to be removed from the ODI's captaincy. So that was a fact, and another thing is that they are washing dirty linen in public. As Rakesh said, now the ball is in BCCI's court, Saurav Ganguly's court. They'll have to come out with some kind of a statement. Or as Rakesh said, he stands vindicated. But believe you me, the board and they are all powerful, and they have an elephant-like memory. They are not going to forget this in a hurry. And that is why I'm saying, if, God forbid, Virat Kohli is struggling as a test player, and if he had a bad tour of South Africa, or the team does not do well, then he can say bye-bye to the test captaincy also, because Rohit Sharma is elevated to vice captaincy. So he is on the verge of being a captain in all 3 formats. So Virat has ruffled a lot of feathers. I understand whatever he might be hurt, but he was never hurt when he dropped Ashwin for 4 years. If Virat is a great player, so is Ashwin. The way he mistreated Ashwin. So, it comes back to you. Now he's feeling hurt. But he never got hurt when he thought it was his right to drop Ashwin. When the entire country, all experts, everybody is saying why Ashwin is not playing. The guy who scored 400 plus wickets, forget about 2020. He was not played in one-day cricket. He was not played even in test cricket. So how can you do that and justify it? And when everybody around you were telling him to play Ashwin. So now he's feeling very, very offended because he thought he can get away with everything. So when you're a captain, you think whatever you're doing is right. It is your birthright to be a captain for the country forever. It doesn't happen. You know, it's a time-bound thing. And it's a shelf life for every captain.
Well, gentlemen, of course, you all are very, eminent guests on the show today. You know cricket and how the selection happens much before, much more than I or the viewers who are watching us would do. So I want to ask you, what you're saying, of course, would have been happening within the BCCI. As Mr. Ashok Malhotra mentioned just now, the writing was on the wall. Probably Virat couldn't read it. So even if he was supposed to be edged out, even if the time had come for Virat's era to get over, was this the way to deal with this matter? Ashok Malhotra first, then the other guests.
No, I think it has, as I said before also, they have not handled it, they could have handled it much better, both the parties. But the fact is, I only feel Virat feels little offended because he thinks he's a know-all, he knows everything, he's all-powerful, and it did not happen. And as I said before, writing was on the wall for one-day cricket, and whether he was told after the test selection, because everybody knew, except for Virat. I'm amazed that he did not know. He knew what was coming for him.
Okay. Nikhil Sharma?
Well, I'd like to believe that two wrongs don't make a right? And in this case, 3, 4, 5 of them don't make a right. It's a long story with Indian captains, Indian coaches, and unceremonious exits, and add Virat to another one. I think the real bone of contention here is the fact that his exit has been unceremonious. He had himself excused from the T20 captaincy, and I believe that was the right move. I'm fairly sure not many in the BCCI had a problem. When a captain is, in Indian cricket, not like Australia or England, the captain is the figurehead. Any tour success or failure, he's the first guy standing in line to either take the kudos or to take the flak. And then, of course, the team and the selectors and the board then come in line. But, if you look at the T20 World Cup failure, everybody's pinned their blames onto him for the fact that his team selections were not good. The squad selection was not very good. So in this case, I think, the way it's been handled is not great. However, that being said, it's always been the case. We can take numerous examples of captains and their run-ins with the BCCI. I think Virat's just done what he could have, appeared for a press conference that the BCCI scheduled and answered all the questions that he could. Now the ball is in the BCCI's court to make sure that they don't lose Virat, the batsman. And mind you, his record in test, in one-dayers, is still the best in India. So, with the World Cups coming, you don't want somebody like him to be too focused on everything but cricket. Keep his focus on the field, take it off the field, keep everything clean, whether he communicates to you or he doesn't communicate to you. That's his leadership style. His performances have spoken for himself and the team. Give him that respect, that he deserves for as long as he plays, and then thereafter as well.
Okay. Rakesh Rao, now you mentioned about the treatment to Anil Kumble. Then we had other such examples as well. For example, how Ashwin was dropped for about 4 years that Mr. Ashok Malhotra mentioned. Now, I want to ask you, when Virat was taking those decisions, the same administrators who are against Virat today, or at least appear to be against him, were in fact backing him completely. They never came out and said, Virat, why are you taking these kind of decisions? At that time, whatever he was doing as a captain was okay with these people. But today, suddenly, everything that he did was probably not right.
See, it's quite obvious that when he treated Anil Kumble so badly, or when he treated Ashwin so badly, and then let's not forget Kuldeep Yadav. I mean, the way he treated Kuldeep Yadav was, I think it was one of the most shameful episodes in the history of Indian cricket. You cannot just carry somebody around and just give him hope and just drop him for no reason. So there have been n number of instances. Having said that, your question is that, why is it that the BCCI did not act when they should have? This is, in our opinion, that they should have acted then. But if you ask the BCCI, they'll say, no, I think it was fine. It was fine with us. But now we are trying to draw a line and say thus far and no further. So that is what has happened. Probably, see, there are a lot of things to which me and you are not privy to. Something must have happened in this intermediate time. And maybe the office bearers of the BCCI or the selectors of the BCCI, they must have definitely felt it at some point. Now, we are not going to take any more of this arrogance or whatever it is. Probably that is why they've acted now. And of course, your question is whether it could have been handled a little better. Of course, no question about it. This is not the way we expected things to turn out. But then let's face it. When you deal with individuals in certain way, it comes back to you. See, what goes around comes around. This is exactly what Virat has been experiencing in the last 48, at least in the last 48 hours. And of course, but whatever he did yesterday, I give 10 on 10 to him because I expected something from him and he did not disappoint most of the cricket lovers. He has said whatever he had to say. He was definitely hurt. And probably now let's just wait and see whether the BCCI is going to react to it, or they say, okay, we have done what we wanted to do. After all, what wrong have we done? We have removed him from captaincy. We haven't removed him from the team. So captaincy, because his captaincy record, if you see, it's third in the all-time list. But then, captaincy record cannot really convey that how he managed the team. Because the team is, the captain is as good as a team, and it's not the other way around. So if you look at his captaincy record is one thing, because the team which he had was a good side, they performed. But his man management, everybody knows, was questionable. And that is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people felt humiliated under his captaincy. They would never say this. They would never come out and say, because Virat or the board, when they know that the board is not listening to them and Virat is all powerful, they'll keep their mouth shut. But now you have a change in the wind there. Something is happening in the BCCI. So suddenly the players will come out at some point. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. But before that,
decisions may be questionable, Mr. Rao. The decisions may be questionable, but he has delivered results as well for the country.
I agree. I'm not saying Virat Kohli, the captain. I have always had issues with Virat Kohli's captaincy, not his performance as a player. I am giving him 10 on 10. He has chased targets for India and he has won them by example, not due to his captaincy. Let's not make any mistakes there. He's a fantastic player. He has taken challenge. He has taken it on his chin, whatever criticism. But captaincy skills, you show me if he's third on the all-time list as far as the stats go, you give me 3 examples of his captaincy that has helped India win a match. Just 3 examples. You will struggle to find 3 examples. I can tell you that. You can show me 3 performances very easily, but not his captaincy skills on the field of play, of course.
Okay. So now, Mr. Malhotra, the cat is out of the bag. It can't really go back. Revelations have been made yesterday by Virat Kohli himself. What happens next? You know the administration quite well. Will BCCI now be contemplating taking action against Virat Kohli for coming out in the open? Because now what he has said has actually shown the board in a very, very poor light, isn't it?
It has. But, he, as I said before, he might be removed from Test captaincy. But you can't remove Virat as a cricketer. He's one of the best we ever had. So there's no 2 ways about it. Nobody's doubting his talent, cricketing talent. But the fact is what Rakesh was saying, why board did not react before? Because Virat was scoring tons of runs. Simple as that.
No, but Mr. Malhotra, my point is, after what has happened in the last 24 hours, things can't be as they were 3 days back. Can they be between Virat Kohli and the BCCI? When they confront each other, can things be as normal as they used to be? So that's why I'm asking you, will BCCI now contemplate taking action because he's gone against the board?
They might. And as I said before, they have an elephant's memory. believe you me, it will happen. Not now. It will not happen during South Africa. It might have happened after South Africa, but it will happen. He has ruffled very many feathers. I know he has been a top-class cricketer, but most of the captains have an unceremonious exit. This is cricket in India. Let's be, if you go back to history, there are a lot of captains who have gone through this. He's not the first one, and he's not going to be the last one. The fact is that. So my thinking is why he's so hurt, Virat, when he mistreated so many cricketers during the time when he was a captain. Because he was calling the shots, there was nobody to challenge his authority. All of a sudden, he is very annoyed with the BCCI for challenging his authority. Because he categorically said, I'm not a captain for 2020 cricket, but I'll be captaining ODIs and Test cricket. He is nobody to say that. It is the job of the selection committee and the BCCI. You know, whether they want you to be the captain of ODIs and Test cricket. It's the job of the selectors. You as a captain cannot say, okay, I am leaving this format of the game. And I still don't know whether he was pressurized to leave that captaincy also. It is also a question mark. You know, so there are a lot of ifs and buts, and as Rakesh said, we don't know how the things materialize, what really happened behind the curtains.
Absolutely. Nikhil, now, do you think this could have any kind of an impact as far as the upcoming series for India and South Africa is concerned, especially in the cricket dressing room?
There can be two things that can happen from here on. You'll find a supercharged Super Virat Kohli coming out and answering everybody the way he can do best. That's through his bat. If you ask me, I think that's the one that you're going to see. The other can be that we are so very digressed from cricket due to the off-field happenings that we will have a fairly poor South Africa tour. South Africa tours are any which case never easy. And on top of it, we brought this onto us. I think, again, to kind of, go back to it, I don't think in the entire press conference, Virat expressed anguish. I think he was very fact of the matter, said, I was told only an hour and a half before the test match, a team was, discussed. And I said, fine, it's okay. He very matter-of-factly spoke about it. I don't think, he would have gotten upset about it, but it's not going to be carried forward from his side. I keep hearing a lot of comments about his captaincy, about the way of the kind of person he is. I think what he brought to the team was a very different dimension in terms of fitness, in terms of seriousness, in terms of what the way modern day cricket looks like. A lot of people have blamed him for the way he's managed 1, 2, 3, or 4 people. But if you look at the responsibilities that lie on the shoulders of the Indian cricket captain, I think he's done it admirably well. Sir was talking about 3 matches. I can't think of 3 on the top of my head, but I'm very sure there would be far more than 3. And not only as a captain, of course, he's a captain because he performs as a batsman as well. And he's taken that responsibility onto his shoulders, both as a captain, as a batsman, and has delivered. And that's what I expect from Virat Kohli. Of course, we also benefit from having a legend like Rahul Dravid in the dressing room from here on. I think he will calm nerves down of every player. We have a lot of good quality international players. They will get the job done and led in terms of performance as a batsman by Virat Kohli.
Okay, Mr. Rakesh Rao, all 5 fingers are not equal. Okay, Mr. Malhotra, one second. Mr. Rakesh Rao, all 5 fingers, of course, are not equal. When you're playing for a team, what should be the priority, for BCCI or for the country? How the team is performing professionally, or do we need to see how personally the equations are between players and administrators? I mean, what should be our top priority? Because, eventually he was delivering. He brought the country laurels, and that is why he has this very special place in the gentleman's game in India. He is worshipped by many. If you look at, social media, he's among the most followed people around the world that we have.
See, when we are talking about what should be the top priority for the BCCI, no question about it. We are going by performance and not the performer. Make that distinction very clear here. Virat Kohli is a fantastic performer without a doubt. But what we're talking about is what BCCI should be looking at. They need performers. Like out of 11, if you have 11 man of the match people, I mean, who are the men of the match, who can give you the match on their own, we need 11 performers in the team. So that person need not respond to the name of Virat Kohli. It can be anybody. So from the BCCI's perspective, every player should be equal. But yes, these players whom we are talking about, somebody like Virat, he has grown in stature. He cannot be mixed with others and say, okay, Virat is equal to somebody else. No, I know what Virat has contributed, what he's worth. He's a fantastic cricketer. See, the trouble with a person who's a perfectionist is he expects other 10 people in the team to be as good as him. That cannot happen. Like you yourself said, 5 fingers, they are not the same. Exactly. If Virat is so demanding of his teammates, sometimes he can be unfair because not everybody has the same ability or the same commitment to success or to excel. Now, that is where he goes overboard. He has overstepped the line. We all have a number of examples which cannot be discussed on this show. Having said that, with immense respect to Virat Kohli, the cricketer, not the captain, I repeat, not the captain, he has done fantastically well and he'll continue to perform. Trust me. I completely agree with Nikhil when he says we are going to see a different Virat, a woken up Virat, and he is going to do something which he hasn't done in 25 months. That is to probably hit an international 100. We are still waiting from November 2019 for him to hit 100 in international cricket. That is probably what we are going to see over the next 6 matches. I just wish and pray that it happens. But then with Rahul Dravid in that like dressing room, he's going to be the calming effect. He's a sober man around. He's going to soothe the nerves of a lot of people. And he is one of those guys who will go for performance. He will not be enamored by Virat Kohli's, his persona or his ability to, help India win. He is not one of the selectors. Now, if you see the persona of the 5 selectors, on one hand, you put Rahul Dravid on the other side. Those 5 selectors together cannot match Virat Kohli. Let's face it. But Rahul Dravid can put everything into place and he can demand performances because he himself has been there, done that. So that is where I give a lot of credit to Rahul, but still he has to prove himself at the highest level as a coach. So his man management skills, we all know that. He has dealt with juniors. Now he's with the big boys. Let us see what he does on his first overseas tour.
Okay. Mr. Ashok Malhotra, this is the 3rd day in a row that we are discussing this particular issue on Mirror Now, and that too on Urban Debate, because it is getting very, very important now, because for Indians, cricket is like religion. I want to ask you specifically on this aspect. Of course, as Mr. Rakesh Rao is mentioning that, the Rahul Dravid will be able to manage the situation, will be able to balance the things out in the dressing room specifically and for Team India in South Africa. But don't you think the selectors here, the administrators here who are calling the shots have completely ruined the pitch for him even before he could, take over?
See, I sometimes feel sorry for Rahul Dravid. He's always been an unsung hero. And he's another guy who always gets caught in the crossfire. First, it was Ganguly and Greg Chappell. It was Rahul Dravid who was captaining the side. He was caught in the crossfire. He didn't know what to do, either to side with the players or with the Greg Chappell. And now the same is the case for them. Again, he is a good manager, man manager. We'll have to wait and watch. As Rakesh said, he's handled under 19 players, India players. He has not managed superstars. Superstars have inflated egos. They're not easy to handle. And now with this, whether he takes Rohit's side or Virat's side, he has to take a side. He can't be shifting from one end to the other. Then there'll be total chaos in the dressing room. The fact is, there can never be smoke without fire. And history is repeating itself. We had a story of Ajit Wadekar, Bishan Bedi, Ajit Wadekar Patodi, Kapil Gavaskar. Now when 2 big guys are there, Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, when 2 big guys are there in the dressing room, egos are going to clash. And this is exactly what what has happened. You know, the hamstring we are talking about before going on the England tour, he was dropped from one-day team, Rohit Sharma, that his hamstring is not right, and he went ahead and played IPL finals. So he wanted to prove a point to somebody, I don't know who. So same thing is happening. So now he's not playing Test cricket, and Virat doesn't want to play one-day cricket. But the fact is, cricket is their bread and butter. It has brought them name and fame. But nobody is indispensable. Believe you me, people come, people go, but this game goes on. This is what these guys have to realize. And I hope what Nikhil
the game has to go on, but I really appreciate all of you, Mr. Rakesh Rao, Mr. Ashok Malhotra, Nikhil Paramjit Sharma. Appreciate all of you for joining us here on this very, very interesting discussion on urban debate. We can only hope that this does not impact the performance of Team India and South Africa. And we wish good luck to the new coach, Rahul Dravid, as well. Heading into a short break. Thank you very much for staying with us.